Hello, I'm Ricky Church. I'm here for Flickering Myth at TIFF, and I'm here with director Curry Parker for Obsession. So how are you doing?
Good, how are you?
I'm good. So let's talk about this. This is your first big feature. Mm-hmm. So how did that feel like directing a full length horror feature?
It was wild. I've never... the last thing I did was just $800 with some friends, Mm-hmm. So it was really cool to have a real budget, and there was a lot of things I didn't know I could do, mm-hmm. that I was kind of showed that I could do, and a lot of things I discovered along the way. You never know how much money gets you what and what doesn't, and it was really surprising what we were able to pull off. So.
Yeah, it's quite an impressive film, visually, with all the stuff that Indy did with her body language and the cuts, all that. How was that? Because you wrote the script as well. So how was it bringing to life something that you actually wrote on this scale and with this cast? And I mentioned Indy specifically because she is terrifying and fantastic. Yeah.
It was really interesting. I knew right from the get that finding a girl who could play that part really well was going to be so important, right? Mm-hmm. To the movie. If she didn't work, the movie didn't work. And so right off the gate when we were casting, it was a process of finding. A lot of girls were really good at the scary stuff, but they couldn't get the natural stuff right. Or they were really good at the natural stuff and they couldn't quite get the scary stuff right. And so it was a challenge to find. And there was a lot of talented people that came into the mix. But she blew it out of the water. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the Obsession, it works both ways because you have Bear, who is obsessed with Indy enough so that he casts this kind of silly sounding wish, and then comes true, but then goes into terrifying directions with how Nikki, how that persona takes it. Mm-hmm. So can you talk about creating that balance of and the thematic obsession between Bear and Nikki?
I think I just wanted, I never wanted it to feel like a possession movie too much. I didn't want it to feel... It is a possession movie at the end of the day, but it's a different type of possession movie. And I didn't want it to feel like she was a demon. I wanted it to feel like she was just a normal person who is really obsessed with a person, and almost how far is the craziest of people willing to go to, and that's what it was very important to keep it grounded to me, and I think when you have that in mind, your mind kind of changes about what she can do, what she can't do, what the scares are, and the result is something like this, where the scares are more this uncomfortable weirdness than I don't know, a more traditional...
blood and gore.
Right.
And jump scares, yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And can you talk about the casting? Because you were talking about Indy, mm-hmm. and how you need to find that perfect mix for the character of Nikki. What about Bear? What were you looking for in his character to cast?
Yeah, I was actually really open to anybody for Bear. I didn't have a specific look in mind. I just had a specific vibe in mind, and I think... Man, Michael came in and he had this charmingness to him, and I was like, oh, interesting. And then he had this awkwardness to him, and it came out really well in his chemistry read with Indy, and it was pretty. And we had been looking everywhere. This was months of doing this. It was pretty right away. I was like, that's Bear. He looks. He has this thing in his eyes right off the bat where he looks like this kind of lost, puppy that you want to resent, you want to, you kind of feel bad for. And that's kind of the key to it, right? To kind of draw the audience into kind of feeling bad for him, kind of get him on their side, and then when it flips, it's completely, whoa, right? That's the trick. So he played that really well too,
Yeah.
and it was just like seeing his audition and seeing him play the feel bad for me, and then like a guy that's like everyone needs to, and then he uses that, like you watch Bear use that to his advantage, the feel bad for me.
Yeah, because it's like there's lots of like, red flags like immediately that he just kind of ignores and is like, oh no, like it's freaky, but it's okay. Like,
oh yeah, it's not okay what he does, and like it's very, there's a big question of like what is the right thing to do, right? I mean, there's when a person, you know, there's on the phone, the guy says like you kind of have an obligation to be there for her since you're the one that made this wish, right? But then on the flip side, it's not really her.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, yeah, what do you do in that situation? I always want to make the audience have to think about things after they watch it. You know?
Yeah, and like you mentioned, there's like their friend group who all of them are saying like the exact same thing to him, and he's just kind of like pushing it under the rug, like being like, oh, like it's not an issue, like
right,
just in denial.
It's interesting because Ian's character, who the best friend, is very much, dude, it kind of looks like you're taking advantage of Nikki.
Yeah.
But then Sarah's character is very much like, it kind of seems like Nikki's taking advantage of you. And it's like these two different friends that are telling him two different things. One of them believes like Nikki seems like she's leaning on you for emotional support. That's not right. She needs therapy. And then the other one's like, it seems like you're taking advantage of a person who needs emotional support and using that to your advantage. Two completely different perspectives, both with the same result. Y'all don't need to be together, you know. But it's like, it's so interesting to see this dynamic of friends, you know, having different perspectives of the same thing that's going on, and how that may relate to people in real life and their you know, relationships with people.
And then there's also this surprise of like Andy Richter. Watching the movie, I was like, wait, no, that's not like. How did you get him in this movie? Because like Andy Richter is such a great comedic face, and this one he like plays it more seriously in like the short amount of time that he has.
Yeah, it was such a honor to have him, man. I mean, it was so amazing. It just happened. I was at Gersh, and he's repped there, and it was a situation where I was like, hey, we could possibly get, and it was like, no way we're gonna, and like he realizes, does he realize how small the role is? You know, it's like, and it was one of those things where he was just a good sport. You know, he didn't have to do it. You know, but he seems like he's interested in, you know, new filmmakers and being a part of something.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I want to talk about the lighting too, because like the lighting throughout the film is really cool, especially when you have those shots of Indy like standing in a doorway and like everything's kind of lit around her, but you only see her silhouette.
Right.
The barest kind of view of her eyes. So how did you process that? Like this is how the imagery is going to look, and completed on set. How did that come about?
I'm always thinking about the uncanny valley. I'm always thinking about the mystery of not seeing someone and like how that can build tension in a scene. And I think you're going to see in all of my work that I'm going to try and use silhouettes and any method to cover someone's face. I think the flowers that she holds, you know, it's all. I think the moment that you can see someone's entire body, but you can't, if their face is covered, there's a question mark of like their intentions. And if you can keep that question mark of what are they thinking, are they smiling, are they happy, are they sad, you're in that uncanny valley of I don't know how to feel about you, which is a way more effective emotion than just saying, oh, you should feel scared, or you should feel angry, or you should feel happy. When you tell the audience that you don't know how they should feel, that's when you get uncomfortability. Yeah. And that's what I try to do.
I like that tension, like what you said, especially like one scene in particular is like when she goes into the washroom to shower, and the conversation is just from like Bear's point of view, and then you only hear and imagine everything that's happening in the washroom. Like I really like. It's like what you said, not seeing things.
You don't know what she's doing in there.
Yeah,
but
like
you can imagine it.
Yeah, the implication in those cases is like much more like scary and tension building than actually like
Just
you would actually see.
Cut to her in the bathroom.
Yeah, blood and gore. Or
yeah,
whatever.
it's way better in my opinion that way.
Mm-hmm.
Because here's why: when you read a book, or at least when I read a book, you know, my imagination is always way cooler than what I see in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like your imagination can do so much for you. Why not let the audience have that for a couple scenes? You know, and let them imagine what she's doing in the bathroom. You know, you can still lead them to certain things with sound design, but like, yeah, that's important.
Yeah. What? Because like this is horror and not like more like psychological horror, like we were saying, than it is supernatural or slasher. So what kind of aspect of like that psychological horror do you think like appeals to audiences, or what are you hoping that they will get out of this movie?
I think it's just way better to pose a question at the end, or have a movie strike conversations. And I think what's really cool is that you can market this movie as a, you know, more gory slasher possession movie. It's easily marketed that way, but then you watch it and you kind of trick the audience into coming to see a more psychological, thought-provoking movie, you know?
Yeah.
Because it's a premise of, oh, a woman becomes possessed by this dark magic, you know? I hope we're not giving too much away.
Yeah, no. Yeah, no. I've been careful about the spoilers here.
Right.
But yeah, no, like there's so many like great. That's one of the great things about it, because there's so many like great little twists that like you think like, oh yeah, it's gonna go like, you know, this way, like what you were saying, possession. It's gonna go this way, like have these kind of tropes, but then it avoids those tropes. It goes a completely different way.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you very much for speaking with us, and hope you enjoy the rest of TIFF.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah,
Thanks for doing this.
So, Obsession by Curry Parker.